Hey everybody, Graz back. I am here today to give you my completed October, I guess, what I read in October. Wrap up, I suppose. So I had a nice list for October, and I just destroyed all of it. So we'll start off with the things that were on the Kindle. First, I finished The Tomb of Dracula. This is I think it's an epic collection, it was called. I can't remember Masterworks, but it was the first 15 issues and 2 issues of Dracula Lives, or a few. Had the first appearance of Blade. It's pretty cool. I might do a review on this later. Somebody said that it would be neat, so I might do that. But that was the first thing that I read. Next, I read... Well, these aren't really in order. These are just, Demons by Daylight by Ramsey Campbell. I actually wish I hadn't read this. I get that some people really are fond of this and down with it, but I didn't dig it. It's awful. Just not for me. Then I read Women in Trouble by R. St. Clair. Complete opposite of Ramsey Campbell. This is fantastic and well done, and so many of these stories you actually really get into it. And there's one in here that was based on a true story that'll haunt you. Then there was Ripper Country by Jack Harding, which is brilliant. It's like an alternate timeline of the Victorian era where Jack the Ripper was running wild, and it's like on its own little timeline all the way through, and it talks about other evils that were around when Jack the Ripper was going, and you never really know, and it's just, there's tales from people who survived and stuff. Really good. These next two are books that I read after I finished my list. So I read these in the past couple days. Diary of the Displaced 1, The Journal of James Halden by Glyn James. I've read this first book before. This is my second time. The first time I read it, I don't think I saw the fact that it was 1. Or I probably would have read the series by now. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting format, and a very interesting concept. Only minor spoiler I'll give in this video is I want to see more of Cutter Jack, because he's probably the most compelling character in here. But yeah, that. And then I read Zombie Fallout Volume 1 by Mark Tufo. This is funny and good. Not great. It's set up kind of like a journal, but in my experiences, journals aren't this detailed. I mean, the guy's in a zombie apocalypse trying to keep his family alive, and he's got time to write daily in a journal where he's writing like 3 pages of every little thing that he does and describing his vomit and stuff and everything. And it's like, okay, it's I like journal books. I like books that could take place in the diary format, journal. But you got to keep it slightly realistic on the idea of a journal / diary. They're thoughts of the day, not detailed synopsis of a day. But anyway, that's what I read on the Kindle in October. Outside of the Kindle, I read this, The Twilight Zone by Rod Serling. There's 5 tales in here of 5 different episodes, and as much as I don't want to say this, because I love Rod Serling and I love the Twilight Zone, and I think people should read as much as they can. These are basically almost transcripts of the TV show. So if you've already seen these episodes, the little bit that you might get that's different is inconsequential. It's basically like reading the TV show. It's still neat. I still want to get more of them just to collect. But, so there's that. I read Psycho by Robert Bloch. This was so good and so engaging that I sat, and Daughter of Graz is a witness, because she sat there doing school while I read this book. And it's only 175 pages, and I just sat there and read it in one short afternoon. I couldn't put it down. I mean, I forced myself so I could, go to the bathroom and snack and eat and stuff, but this is so good. And I like the way he writes, so I might look into Robert Bloch as another author to read more of. I read The Daughter of Her Father's Eyes. This was part of my 100 greatest graphic novel journey. And I don't understand why this is in there. I might talk more about it in the future. Well, I will, but... Then, also on that tack, I read Astonishing X-Men #1, Gifted. This is also on the graphic novel journey. This was so good that I was disappointed when it ended. Plus, I thought, well, I won't say much more about it because it's going to get its own video in the future. So, and then I read this in about one day. The Answer Is by Alex Trebek. It's his memoir. It's really fascinating, all the stuff that he went through and all the jobs that he went through in show business. The only thing that I don't like about this book is that he didn't talk about his time doing a show called Concentration. So, but the chapters are set up so easy. Like, that's a chapter right there, one page. And it's always The Answer Is, and then he explains why. And the pictures are really good. And I'm going to miss him. I do miss him. And then I finished this. I remember saying I was about 100 pages in when I started, or when October started. And I read the 930 some pages that I still needed. And I kept a top 10 list of my favorite short stories in here, or short novels, or, just of the stories in here, which I'll get to in a future video. And also, I thought it would be neat. This book is well read. It's not hard to find. It's a Barnes & Noble book. The ribbon has somehow mysteriously disappeared. We have cats, so I'm sure that they ate it at some point. But if I ever do get to 100 subscribers, then I will give this book away. So even though it's a Barnes & Noble book and you can get it, it's a free book. And it's complete Lovecraft. So if I ever get there, this will go to somebody. And that was a fun read. This was hard to put down as well. So that was my October. I read a lot more than I thought I could. Because I added reading during the day. I used to only read at night in bed before I went to sleep. But I added reading in the chair during school hours. So that really helped. But yeah, if any of you read any of these books, let me know. Let me know what you thought of them. And if anybody has a differing opinion on Ramsey Campbell, definitely let me know. And definitely let me know something else of his to read, so that maybe in my mind, he can be redeemed. Not that he needs to be, but for me, he can be redeemed. Because that's just my opinion, and that's all this channel is my opinion. Well, our opinion. Thank you to everybody who watches us, who subscribes, comments, gives us a thumbs up. We appreciate all of you. Makes it worth it. The interaction and the talking back and forth is really fun for me. I have both a trivia question and an unpopular opinion for you today. The trivia question also comes from the daughter of Graz. She's helping me. She's my tech person. Who was John Lennon's first wife? What was her name? Try not to Google. No cheating. I mean, anybody can Google, so rise above. And our unpopular opinion today, which isn't exactly an unpopular opinion, but it seems to be, for us, we prefer cats over dogs. We think they're a superior pet. We haven't had luck with dogs. Maybe we didn't have the right kind. Maybe we didn't train them right. I don't know, but our cats love us. They sleep on us. They sit on us. They come to us. They talk to us. Not with words, obviously, but they still talk. And so there's that. So watch my last video if you want to. It's about all the giant books I want to read in November. So, yeah, if you're interested, I added up the pages of all the stuff that I read in October. And I don't know if this is a huge number for some of you, but for me it's impressive. 3,597 pages. A quarter of that was H.P. Lovecraft. So yeah. I guess that's it. Happy Halloween. Well, I guess it's November 1st now, so I hope you had a safe Halloween. I hope you had a fun Halloween. And enjoy the month of November. And as always, read more.